Good. Hi, Jim. We're all set. It is 4:45 and I will call the Community Resources and Tourism Committee meeting for February 14th, Monday, February 14th to order. Looking at the screen, we have all committee members plus our County Board Chairman, David Bartlett, and we will hear shortly from our County Manager and Corporation Counsel. So we will commence with our meeting. You've seen the minutes from two meetings, our January 10th and the special meeting that we called for last Friday or Monday, February 7th. I would entertain a motion to approve both of these minutes if so approved. Anybody?
That's so moved, Jim.
Moved by Bjork, Supervisor Bjork, seconded by Supervisor Quinn to approve the minutes of January 10th and February 14th. All in favor of approving of these minutes, please raise your hand so I can see them.
Aye.
Jim Johns, thank you, Jim. All approved of the minutes. I'm going to take the liberty with unless to change the agenda a little bit to comply and to help our Corporation Counsel to get on to another meeting. And so I've moved up the item a little bit on our application for broadband application to discuss that at this point so they can move on to other meetings. So I know we're going to hear from our County Manager, Paul Miller, and from Corporation Counsel as well. So Paul, go ahead.
Good evening, everybody. You should see in your packet the draft application. This had been submitted previously and you wanted to take time to review it and come up with any questions that you have. I'll note that from the draft application, one potential change that already you may wish to discuss. As drafted, it has, when a company applies for support from the county, a letter of support can come from the CRT committee and the county board chair, but monetary contributions would require resolution going to the county board under the application as drafted. Discussion this past week where the CRT committee recommended and executive committee forwarded to the county board a resolution for $100,000 in ARPA funds. That resolution would allow, and Corporation Counsel can correct me, I don't have it in front of me, but I believe it would allow the CRT committee to make the decision on monetary contributions rather than requiring a separate resolution go back to the county board. So this committee may want to talk about changing that aspect of the draft application that was drafted back in December. So other than that, the application form is fairly straightforward. It basically calls for the same kind of information that the internet service providers already give to the towns when they have a project, the geographic location, the number of properties served, the number of residents served, the type of that's going to be constructed, which is usually fiber, what we're talking about, the cost of the project, the amount that the company itself is putting into the project, the amount of grant that they're requesting, the amount of monies they may be requesting from the towns, and then the amount of contribution they're requesting from the county, along with an evaluation of the prospects for the application should the county not participate. I think that kind of information is readily provided already by the ISPs when they make grant applications. This simply lays it out in writing. A ISP would come to the county, submit the application to administration, which would review it to make sure it's complete, and then contact CRT committee, this committee, to place it on the next available agenda for consideration and action by the committee. That's the overview of the application form. It is not complicated. I don't believe it needs to be. But this committee wants to look at the details and suggest any alternatives or changes to it. You're muted, Jim.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul. Corporation, Nick, you want to add anything here? Because I have a question and other committee members might.
I do, but I see Supervisor Bartlett has his hand up.
Yes, thank you.
I-
Call on Chairman Bartlett.
Okay, I agreed with everything Paul said up to the committee being able to spend up to $100,000. If the resolution goes through, that's how much the committee would have in their fund to disperse. And I believe if they wanted to disperse more than that, they'd have to go back to the county board.
Right,
I think that's true.
true.
The checking account, if you will, for lack of better terminology, right now only has $100,000 in it, and it's intended to cover all applications that might come in through, I believe it was the end of March. But if this process is something, if this is something that's going to be ongoing, I think Paul's intent, and I agree with it, is to create a procedure that applies so that every applicant has the same process involved from where the application is received, how it's considered, how it's deemed to be supported, and then presented to the county board for the decision as to whether or not to provide financial support for it. And I think the way this is written, I think the resolution that the county board will consider on Wednesday evening would qualify to meet this requirement. But if you think some other language would be preferable, I can work with Paul on it. I think it's a good procedure. It doesn't have to be too complex, just making sure that everyone's on the same playing field, so that we don't have one applicant sending it to the zoning administrator because they went to school together, or whatever. I'm just using examples that are not based in fact, but just that kind of thing.
And for clarification, my reference is to the draft you have in front of you. I wouldn't want there to be any confusion. It does say as drafted, it says that the CR&T committee, if it's going to recommend any monetary contribution, would have to prepare a resolution to go to the county board.
Yeah.
The resolution in front of the county board on Wednesday says, no, CR&T can allocate up to $100,000 without going back to the county board. So we may want to clarify that by some additional language in the application form.
Well,
And hey, Chair, that's what I was getting at, that I think we should leave most of that language in there so that it doesn't, that they can move forward with anything that comes up, that we don't tie their hands.
Okay, I want to hear from committee members. Anybody? Yes, Tom, go ahead.
You're muted, Tom.
You're muted.
There you go. Sorry. I noticed this problem too when I read through it. I wonder if we could ask council to draft either an additional clause or some language that just clarifies that the resolution that we're going to act on Wednesday night, if it's passed, does authorize the committee to designate funds directly. Just to be clear.
We could add that. I don't know if I'd be able to do it right now, but I think we could add language that just says that this requirement will be met by resolution 22- whatever for applications received by March 31st, 2022. And I think that'd be good.
All those years in law school paid off. That's very
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
We could also simply amend the one paragraph of the application form that refers to CRNT forwarding a resolution with a parentheses or a comma, unless the CRNT committee is authorized by county board action to allocate specific funds without necessity to go to the county board. Second
Yeah,
comma, we just insert that and we're covered.
Either one of those is fine.
Ann, I see you're nodding your head in approval. Larry, I don't know about you, and Jim Zons, I can't tell. Let's hear from you people.
Well, first
Any
of all,
concerns?
no,
Larry?
Jim, I'd kind of go along with the discussion that's been brought up. As long as the county board, every member knows what's going on and how we came to this point, that's the most important thing to me.
And I
Thank you, Larry.
I agree with Larry and the rest of the committee members. Everything sounded good as far as the proposed changes and where we're at this point. So full steam ahead.
Thank you, Jim. How about you, Ann?
I agree with the changes, maybe just inserting that phrase versus the actual specific resolution might make it more generic going forward. But yeah, I think it's a great process and I'm looking forward to getting our first applications.
Yeah, and so am I. My question is, proving this, do we have to contact all the ISPs now and make them aware of the timing and the process that they need to follow so that they aren't left out there wondering where to go? Paul, can you answer that?
I think it would be wise for us on Thursday, provided the county board passes the resolution.
Right.
Supervisor Quinn has been in touch with certain of them. You, Chairman Anderson, have been in touch with certain others, either between the two of you, or if you want to give the contact information to staff, to reach out to them on Thursday and say, hey, the county board has allocated monies now. We know there's a deadline. Don't waste any time. Here's the application form.
Thank you, Paul. Well, with the approval of this committee, we could move ahead with what you said. And Chairman Bartlett, you and I then maybe could, if this is approved by everybody, kind of let the ISPs know our new procedure and go from there. Is there anything we need to do other than the direction you've heard from us right now, Paul and Nick?
No, just a motion to endorse the application as discussed tonight.
So I need to hear a motion as endorsing the discussion that we've had tonight. Is that your motion, Tom Quinn?
It is. It is.
Do I hear a second? Seconded by Supervisor Vogel. Thank you. So we got a motion on the floor. We've had discussion. Any more discussion or question before I call a question? All right, that sounds good to me too. So all in favor, please raise your hand so I can see it.
Aye.
Thank you, Jim. The motion carries unanimous. Well, thank you, Paul, and thank you, Nick Lang. You can stay on as long as you want. We'll move back to our agenda now then, and I hope that helps so you can do your other business. Thank you, Nick.
It did. Thank you.
All right, let's move on with our agenda right now. And I'm sorry for a little delay here because I want to call right now on getting back to our agenda. We always call on our chamber tourism director, and I see Tammy Simon is on board. So Tammy, you want to update us a little bit here right now? What's going on with tourism for regarding the Chamber of Commerce? Tammy Simon.
I sure can. We have a ton of things going on right now, but I did want to touch on just a few of those. I am currently working on developing a program where we, as anyone interested in tourism in the area, are invited to a kind of a roundtable discussion. My plan is to have it in April and probably October. We are the biggest thing I've noticed since I've come on board is that the communication avenues for the tourism interested tourism parties is it's hard to get everybody kind of talking the same topic because we're never together. So my plan is to have a little tourism powwow, a little roundtable, and we can talk about those things that affect the tourism industry here in Menominee, and kind of find out what is expected of us and what we expect of them, and how we can help them promote their businesses and promote their properties and things like that. So I have been in contact with all but one hotel manager in the area since I started the position. Really trying to build those relationships and kind of build up, kind of get some momentum going on actually getting kind of us all on the same page. We are also working diligently on changing some of our marketing practices. In previous advertisements in previous years, there were lots of pictures of, the trail and pictures of things, never pictures of people doing things in those areas. So you might see a little bit of a change in the look, the feel, and the personality of what we're doing, just to kind of show people actually doing the things we're advertising about here in Menominee. So we are also full blast into our advertising and marketing plan for the year. Budget is done. And we are working a little bit more on doing some digital advertising, and working with our website, kind of driving people to our website. So we've seen some great results in the last month and 1 month and 1 week we've been doing it. And we've seen some great results since then. So that's kind of it. I'm not sure what you guys want to know. If you have questions, certainly ask me. If you want to see what we're doing for digital marketing and advertising, I'd be glad to share that with somebody. But that's kind of what we're looking at.
Well, Tammy, I agree. We are interested in that, and in a little while, of course, later, Jim Zons is going to update everybody regarding our county tourism package and presenting it at our county board meeting on Wednesday evening. I don't know if you knew that, Tammy, but we do look forward to hearing from you. And thank you for your report, Tammy. Unless there are any questions, we'll move on to our extension educators. If not, Tammy, thank you very much.
You bet. Happy
Well,
Valentine's Day.
Okay, Tammy, good, thank you. Well, there's a bright, shiny face, Stephanie Hitz, can you believe she's going to leave us? She's going to southern sunny California, Stephanie. The last day is March, is that correct, Stephanie? That you're going, or April, is that, or April of what year?
April 1, which it's
I know,
not a
I
joke.
know.
It's not.
Oh, well, we're delighted to hear from you this evening, Stephanie Hitz, who is our human development specialist here in Dunn County. So we'll hear from you at this point, Stephanie.
All right. Thank you for giving me the time to share. I'm really excited to recap what I've been working on over the last few years, working with Extension. And I am very proud of the work that I was able to be a part of and help lead and facilitate. And I am gonna not tear up because I'm strong. And I want to say thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to be in this role in a community that I love dearly. It's going to be very sad to leave. If it didn't snow here, I'd want to stay. But so, as you guys have heard me say so many times, one of the things that I'm most proud of in this position is being a instrumental role in getting our Health Done Right Community Health Coalition up and running, and has now had a couple of years under its belt. With COVID, it's been a little turbulent, but I'm very proud of the work that we have done. I'm proud of the grants that we were able to secure and where we are at this point. So we are going to actually get a billboard to advertise our Health Done Right website. And it is like my vision of this health coalition is all coming into play. And I'm so excited that I get to be here when that billboard goes up, because in my mind, we are doing something that is very creative and something that, given a couple more years, we can turn around and share this idea with other communities should they want to emulate us. And I actually got a call from some economic development person in some county in Florida who looked up our 2018 broadband rural gap analysis and called me and they're like, hey, this is really well done. How did you do this? And I just love that Dunn County gets to be a leader in that way, right? Like we're sure a smaller rural county, but we have awesome people here and we're making waves and I'm proud of us. So one of the things that is really cool about how we started this health coalition is that we built it off of our community health needs assessment. Many people know, but not everyone knows that the public health department and health care facilities are like legally mandated to do a community health needs assessment about every 3 years. And so often they get together to reduce redundancies and combined resources, and they do a needs assessment together. Now, historically, what happens in counties all over the US, right? So it's not just Wisconsin, they do a needs assessment and they're like, great. They put it in a fun little book and then they put it on the shelf and they don't use that information until they get to the next year and they have to do another needs assessment. Well, the unique thing that Dunn County did was we all got together and we did a pretty huge needs assessment. We had so many players at the table. Like we wanted it to be an all hands on deck thing. We wanted buy-in and we wanted to have a collective of people in the community who were really passionate about addressing our needs and identifying what the community saw as their needs. And I know you've already heard all of this many times, but I just want to do a little recap of what that looks like. So we did an extensive needs assessment. We identified the top 5 community areas. And then simultaneously, as we were birthing this health coalition, we developed the 5 action teams to address our top 5 community needs. And then through partnerships and relationship buildings, we're able to work with the Community Foundation to get $50,000 worth in grants for 1 year for our first go. And it was like roughly 10,000 for each action team, but it kind of changed and they ended up giving even more money to our other action teams, which is amazing. And my vision for this billboard, I wanted us to have a bunch of cool things under our belts. Like I wanted us to be able to show the community, okay, we heard you. This was the needs. This is what we are doing to address the needs. And here are some of our results so far. Well, now that we've had a couple of years under our belt doing this, despite COVID, each action team has done some really cool work. And now we are like so primed to put up our billboard to show them that we have Health Done Right as a website. We have this really cool community resources tool. And here's all the other things that these action teams are doing to address community need. Fantastic. I'm so excited for that. So Health Done Right, of course, you guys have heard me say that a million times before. I'm going to throw the links in the chat box again, just in case you want to see it. I get lots of energy behind this because I think just the way everything rolled out and the way that we were able to build such strong relationships with other organizations and entities in the community was pretty awesome. Now, the other things that I'm really excited about is running a Parents Forever class, our mandated divorce parenting class for the last 4 years, and having every single person who took my class, except one person, but I'll tell you about that person, but every single person except one said that this class helped them with their life, right? In some way. The eval metric I used changed a little bit, but every single person except one said that it was practical advice that helped them in their life. And I got positive reviews all across the board. This is for a program that is mandated. They need to pay for it. And it's on the weekend a lot of times. And we're talking about one of the top 5 most stressful things in their lives. And all across the board, except for that one person, I've got nothing but raving reviews. And I feel like that's a service to the community that we can be proud of. Because we know when parents take divorce or co-parenting programs like Parents Forever, that is research/evidence-based, their children have higher likely outcomes of resilience, right? Their children are more likely to be resilient when their parents take this class. So it is so important that we are able to offer that in the county. And not only are we able to offer it in the county, but we're able to offer it in a way that is not non-judgmental, in a way that people feel comfortable to process what they're going through, and in a way that people feel comfortable to follow up with me afterwards to get more resources. I'm very proud of that. Now, the one person that did not say that they got anything of value from the class, he was fighting me the whole time. It is a 4-hour class. You get really comfortable with people, and everything that I said, he was like, nope, wrong. And there was some verbal tussling going on there, and I got the eval back from him, and I knew it was him because everything he said was like, everything was bad. And then at the very end, in the eval comments, he said, the instructor was nice though. So I was like, well, okay, I'll take that. And then I'll just share one more thing because I don't want to take up too much of our time, but another thing that I'm profoundly proud of for serving our community in Dunn County is all of the mindfulness and healthy coping mechanism classes that I've taught in various ways. And I've been very lucky to have many different populations. I was able to teach these classes in the Dunn County Jail. I was able to teach these classes for our Hmong youth. I was able to teach these classes for our Hmong Friendship Center, our Hmong elders, for business professionals. I did it at the Menominee Co-op for just general public. And I have so many anecdotal or sometimes emails or little notes or thank you cards or just like little mementos of people in the community following up with me afterwards and saying, thank you. Thank you for giving me that tool so I can regulate my emotions. And maybe they're not using those words exactly, but that's essentially what they're saying, right? Like, thank you. And I'm just happy that I've been able to provide that service. And our Practicing the Pause program is going so well. Each time we do it, we get at least one email from someone who's following up and saying like how it's profoundly changing their life, or how they are like so looking forward to Thursday mornings so they can do Practicing the Pause. One participant actually said that she believes that attending our Practicing the Pause session is helping her manage her diabetes, which is so amazing. But yes, so I'm just thrilled that I have been given the opportunity to be in this position and make the impact that I feel that I've made. And yeah, I feel really good about it. And I hope you guys do too.
Stephanie, we love your enthusiasm and everything you've done for all of our people of Dunn County. We are all going to miss you dearly. And may I say that we hope to see you before you leave, and that you will always think of Dunn County as your home and come back. Once the snow is gone, come on back. Oh, Stephanie, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Great report. We appreciate all you've done.
Mr. Chairman?
I call on a couple of our committee members. I think I saw Tom Quinn's hand up first, Larry, and then I'll call on you, Larry.
Yeah, thank you, Jim. I just wanted to, that was great. It's just a great report, Stephanie. Terrific. And thanks for your good work. But I'm just wondering what you're going to be doing out in California.
Oh, thank you for asking. I'm going to exist near an ocean.
Oh, great.
Yes. So
That's
my best
wonderful.
friend, yeah, she lives 2 blocks from the ocean. So I'll be there. I probably will start doing wilderness therapy though, actually.
Okay, great. Great. Good for you.
In the San Diego area, right, Stephanie? Right. Well, yes, thanks for asking that question, Tom. Larry, what's your question? Go ahead.
Well, I got 2 of them, and it's really funny because I think the one tough nut that she had trouble with is a neighbor of mine, because we talked about it. And he's been that way since he's been a little boy. And my comment to him was, when he would talk, I asked him about some classes he was taking, and I said, you should listen to what that young lady has to say. And I think I don't think he rejected her as much as he said she did in her information. And then the other thing, which I think is highly important, is that she just hit on a key that is a downfall of government so many times, and that we gather all this information from people, however we get it, we produce a report, and then we put the stinking thing up on a shelf. And
Right.
the idea that you got enough energy and enough excitement about it to say, we're going to put up a billboard or we're going to do this, speaks volumes to how things should be done. But just so she knows, that one guy listened to what plenty that she had to say. So just, I know that for a fact. Over and out.
Well, thank you, Larry. And I might echo that. I know many reports, they say after they're gotten together and they're put on a shelf and then forgotten. That won't happen, Stephanie. We'll keep it going and working. Well, again, you've been a great contribution to our county, and we wish you nothing but the best. And please remember to call Dunn County your home. Okay, thank you, Stephanie, very much. Well, moving on. Oh, I'm County Board Chairman Bartlett. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Dave.
I just wanted to echo what's been said. I've been involved in the Health Done Right with the end one. And if it wasn't for Stephanie with her enthusiasm, I don't know that it would have been as great as it is right now. And I believe that the broadband survey and study also came out so great because of Stephanie's enthusiasm and the work she did. So I really want to thank you for, I realize, the things that you talked about doing in extension are very important, but these other things that you did over and above that, helping Dunn County out in other ways is so very important, and thank you.
Well, there you heard it, Stephanie, from every one of us. We are most appreciative, and we wish you the very best wishes, and our hearts go with you. And don't forget us back here in Dunn County, Stephanie. Best wishes. Well, you know what I did neglect when I moved the agenda a little bit. I got to ask Krista, did we hear anybody from public comments? I forgot to ask. Krista, did you get any public comments?
I did not. No.
Thank you, Krista. I neglected that on the agenda moving ahead. All right. Well, we'll move on then. And at this point, then we're going to hear from our Area Extension Director, Catherine Emanuel, and always good to see you, Catherine. And we'll hear from you, Catherine Emanuel.
I forgot I've diversified my audio for today, so I have to unmute my phone and my computer. Good afternoon.
Well, at least they had to tell me, Catherine, had to shut off my TV before I started the program. Go ahead, Catherine.
Oh, all right. Well, I just want to say thank you for your kindness and graciousness with Stephanie. I concur with everything that's been said. And, I was thinking about how would I summarize Stephanie in a nutshell? And that would be a joyful mover and shaker, because she does that, and you just can't help but feel the joy when you're doing meaningful collaboration and community work with her. So thank you, Stephanie, immensely. So maybe I can just launch off of that, because many of you are probably wondering, well, what are we going to do? So we're going to cry for several months. And while we're crying, we are intending to repost for the position. And so I want to have just a quick conversation with you all about that and just see your general sense of how we move forward. So traditionally, the state will wait until the county says or confirms, yep, we'd like to continue with this position. Our state leadership had a meeting recently, and I said, hey, if you guys want to pre-consider this, please do. And so the state has committed to continuing to fund the Human Development and Relationships Educator, same focus as Stephanie, which is family engagement and relationships, fully. And so we've got approval for that, contingent upon continued support from Dunn County. I did check in with Mr. Miller to ask, do we need to keep this as an agenda item, or, what should we do here? And his advice was that we would have a discussion about it. The money is already funded. It's already in the budget. So in order to say that Dunn County is not interested in it, you would have to take committee action and then shepherd it to the full county board to say that you're not interested in it anymore. So my sense has been that you all have been very supportive of this program and the programming here. And so I just wanted to open it up for conversation to see if you all are okay with that, continuing this direction, or if you feel that we should push a pause button somewhere where you all have a fuller conversation with the county board.
Okay, any committee members or county board chair have any questions regarding what Catherine just asked about this position? Anybody? I think we're all in full support, Catherine, what you said. So I didn't see any objections. So please continue on with that process.
I sure will. And we have not submitted any paperwork yet. We started preliminary conversations, but certainly wanted to honor the county first before we move forward. So we will indeed move forward with that. Stephanie has given us the gift of time to lots more than 2 weeks. So I anticipate that we would probably be able to have somebody start with us in May if we can, if no surprises occur. So Stephanie and I and Michelle are going to be meeting several times to prepare her exit report and just make sure we've mooched everything we need to from Stephanie's brain to pass the baton to the next person in the position. Once we get closer to the end for interviewing finalists, I will come back to this committee and invite somebody from the committee to sit in on the final interviews like we've done with the other positions in extension.
Yeah, thank you, Catherine. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Okay. So then the other updates I have, we'll start with local, super local. Just want to highlight in the budget materials that you have for our department, you'll see that our year-end financials are in the packets and that we are about $21,000 under budget. Just want to share a little bit of why that was. We had a vacant community development position for a large part of the year. We did have furloughs and the money was not charged to the counties for the dates that we had furloughed. And then we also had reduced travel, professional development, conferences, and workshops due to COVID. A lot of these types of trainings either had reduced or free registrations because they were happening virtually versus in person. So just want to give a little context to that. The next is that we have a new FoodWise educator that you'll meet sometime. So as you know, Sandy is the coordinator and she supervises 3 educators between Chippewa and Eau Claire counties. And together, those 3 educators do FoodWise nutrition education in all 3 counties, including Dunn County, of course. So our new colleague, and I wrote up a little bit about her in the monthly highlights. Her name is JL Wolf, and I apologize. It's totally on me. I miswrote her name in there as JL Wolf Martinez, but that's on me. And please only call her JL Wolf. She is our first bilingual, Spanish bilingual educator that we have in our area, and we're really excited for her to join the team. And so there was a person named Pamela Warren Armstrong who would come from Eau Claire and would teach in Dunn. If you folks remember Karen Fritz from back in the day, she used to be our FoodWise educator in Dunn County. And so when she retired, the state kind of reconfigured the teaching scenario. And so JL will be joining our team next Monday, and you'll see her at some upcoming CRTC meeting. And she's also a breath of fresh air. I think she and Stephanie were cut from the same mold somewhere. And she also has spent some time, she actually was from Southern California and did a lot of community teaching there. And she has most recently also been a Master Gardener volunteer. So she's been doing extension programming and community outreach. So it's going to be really nice to have her join the team, and we're really lucky that we found her. And then the last piece that I'll share is more related to the state side of things, and nothing for you to do about it other than just to tuck it away. The UW system has a new president. Maybe you have heard about this in the news. His name is Mr. Jay Rothman. And one of our dean's most important jobs on the horizon is to make sure he builds an effective relationship with our new system president. Well, our dean has something very special that most other people probably won't have to build that connection. Mr. Rothman's mother was our dean's first grade teacher. So he's gonna utilize that relationship as best as he can. And then the other piece is that our chancellor is moving on to be the president in a university in Illinois. And there now is updated information on our Madison website about the chancellor search. And I put those links in the newsletter so that if you're interested in learning more, you certainly can click there and there will be more information. So again, this doesn't really affect us too much on our day-to-day operations, but leadership and new leadership makes a difference, and we're anxiously awaiting to see how these next chapters unfold and how we all intersect together. So with that, I'd be happy to take any questions you may have.
Thank you, Catherine. Questions, Larry, go ahead.
Catherine, I got one that's a little out there, of course, but I've never heard what has happened with the funds that were gathered up for the dairy judging team that was to go to Europe or Scotland to participate. And I had heard one time that because it was through a university program or a sponsored program, that they had taken, university had taken that money or had that money available. What's happened with the money, and what are you know of any plans? Because I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, thanks a lot. We can certainly follow up with you on this. My understanding is that part of the team is still going this summer, and with the funds that were raised. And Louisa has clarified with our state institute director for positive youth development, who would be kind of the overseer of the state resources for 4-H. And he has assured that those funds that were raised are staying with youth. So I am not aware that the state has removed those funds or made any changes. However, if it would be helpful for you, I'd be glad to have Louisa connect with you and share that information.
So
if I might add, Larry, I did talk to Lisa about that very same issue. And they are planning to go yet, you know, our Dunn County 4-H judging team. And it's more up to the flights and getting in and out of the country. And the funds are still there, Larry. That's what I heard. But you have more of a question? Go ahead, Larry.
No, I just had thought that they were denied two different trips, and that was the end of it.
Thank you. We'll keep you updated, right, Catherine? I think that's the question right now.
I was able to just pull up an email so I can share it out with everybody right now verbally. So Supervisor Anderson stopped by the extension office and to meet with Louisa, and this was one of the questions that he wanted to learn a little bit more about. So Louisa sent a summary after that, and just sharing that the 4-H team here in Dunn County got permission to travel, and they also got an agreement in writing last spring from the Institute Director, Matt Calvert, that the money for that trip to Scotland should be used locally by our Dunn County project to support other educational things if the trip for winning judging teams cannot happen this coming summer. And that letter was also sent to Mr. Jim Powers. Louisa wrote, I've also heard some rumors about UW-Madison taking money from 4-H groups. This has not happened in our county and would be very unlikely to happen. If you have a particular concern or wish to have something directly from the state team, please let me know and Louisa will connect you. So, you know, it's good that you bring this stuff up because we want to make sure that we're getting the most accurate information. And even if it's not sitting right with you or you're not sure, please do not hesitate to reach out. I would have Louisa take the lead to coordinate information back for you all. But to our knowledge, everything's a go and the money that was raised here locally stays here locally.
Yes, thank you, Catherine. Anybody, any other questions from any of the committee members of Catherine? Well, Catherine, we look forward to, you mentioned Gail, is that meeting her too in the near future, so.
Yes,
I'm
yes,
sure.
J-A-E-L, JL.
Yeah, thank you. You will schedule her, you and Michelle in for one of our meetings coming up in the near future. Catherine, very good. I know later in the agenda that we do have a request for an extension budget carry forward request, right? So, okay, we'll do that later. Well, thank you very much to all of our extension friends, Catherine, and thank them for all the excellent work they're doing. Well, we're going to move on to our Dunn County Economic Development Corporation right now. Then I see that our executive director is online. And so we're going to ask Bob Bassani for an update for what's going on with Dunn County Economic Development. Bob Bassani, go ahead.
Yeah, hi guys. Listen, I've got this may sound a little bit disjointed. I got so many projects going at one time that it's hard to keep some of them straight for me. But I've got a company, and I think this is a done deal. It'll be in Menominee Township, 20,000 square foot facility to start with. It's been working with this project for months now. But as late as last week, I was told to consider it a done deal. I can't mention any names yet, but and so I'm going to take that as a very positive sign. That would be a real big deal for us to get this. Really good win for us. I'm cautious enough to know that until the last agreement is signed, things can fall apart. I sat at the table with projects that only needed one final signature that didn't come and they fell apart. But nonetheless, this one is looking really good. And I think we're going to have a pretty good win here pretty soon. Got a number of other companies with which I'm working, manufacturing companies. And one of the things that they all are looking for, at least immediately, is space. If there's anything available, space is hard to come by, you know. And in some cases, to be honest with you, I've searched for space for some of these companies because we didn't have what they wanted all the way up and down the I-94 corridor from Eau Claire to Hudson and couldn't find what they needed. But in any event, I've got some of these on the table. I found some space. I had to be a little creative with some of these, but I've got some options on the table for some of these companies. They're exploring them at the moment, and we'll see. These are light manufacturers. In one case, however, and by the way, I've had some space options in rural Dunn County. I've been pushing really hard and trying to get on the table. And it's being under consideration for some of these. But in any event, I had one company as late as Friday now, the last time I talked to them. They need to be in Menominee, and I'm working with the city on a parcel of land in the Menominee Industrial Park, and got the city to agree to carve out a certain section that these guys were interested in from the information I forwarded them. And this may have a tie-in ultimately. These guys might be interested in a building that's provided to them on a capitalized lease. And that door, I think, might be open with the Greater Menominee Development Corporation. And if it is, then we'll work through our office to get it done. And so we'll have that going. But I've got a couple of those going on there. I had been working on a couple of hydroponic farms. I mean, they're out there. Let me just say they're out there. In some cases, I'm waiting for information. I can't go any further with them until they provide me the information I need to help them. Software companies, been working with these for months. I got a software company that has developed, gosh, there's probably 15 SaaSes, and that's software as a service. and then they sell it on a subscription basis. So right now we're on a software as a service. Zoom is a software as a service. Netflix is a software as a service. But these guys are focused primarily on security and control. And in fact, I did a lot of work for these guys. They would go into the Stout Technology Park if we can get this done. I've worked a lot with the developers and the financiers on these projects. And I had some long conversations on this past weekend with this particular company. They're moving forward with their SaaSes. They have a number of preliminary contracts in place, and they're meeting with a number of Fortune 500 companies this week. If we can get that done, then we can trigger the financing phase. And wouldn't you know it, and here a while back, and I've never mentioned this one, I had done a lot of work for another software company, but I didn't think that they guys were going to be moving forward. Well, I get a call Saturday, and gosh, they think they want to move forward now. They've got what they think is a cornerstone investor lined up, and they asked if I could tweak some of the information that I had provided. So I've done that. So that's on there. I got a medical device company. I've been working with these guys for a long time. This was a system that was developed by the researchers and doctors of a major medical university. And they had approached a developer to commercialize it, and he approached me. So I've been working with him and with the developers and with the financiers to see if we can't get that done. Again, I'll have to tell you that's a Stout Technology Park project, but that's out there. And I've got inklings on a variety of others. I had a Bitcoin mining company that is looking now at the possibility of putting in a Bitcoin mining operation. I've got a site in rural Dunn County that's being looked at. 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, it made no sense because they couldn't compete with the electrical costs out of China. But now with Bitcoins at $40,000 a coin, it makes it viable. So anyway, but I don't know if that's going to go anywhere. I've been calling a number of times about a data center, and there's a development group that wants to look at putting a data center in. Data centers are really, really tough to do, big time. So I don't know if that's going to go anywhere or not, but I mean, a data center would cost $22,000 a square foot just to build, so we'll see where that's at. I've got, and I had talked to Dave Bartlett here. Was it last week, Dave, or the week before? I'd gotten a call from a company called Galehead out of Milwaukee. They're an administrative management company, and a company called Tier Energy had secured their services, and they're working with a private party in rural Dunn County to install solar panels, and they needed to connect with the right people in the county to develop or to create a development agreement with the county. So Dave got me connected to a guy named Scott, and forgive me, I can't remember Scott's last name, with the Utilities Committee, but then they talked. Yeah, okay, thanks. But in any case, I put them directly in touch with Scott, and assuming it was moved forward, they indicated that they would probably be up here in the next couple of weeks and want to get together and meet. And I said, sure, just let me know when. You got that out there. I got another major project, guys, and I haven't talked very much about this one at all, but I've been working directly with the developers and the financiers on this project. This is a big deal. I'll be on it, and I spent a lot of time this weekend on the phone with these guys. And I'll be straight up with you. I don't think that they can do what they think they might be able to do, but they operate at a higher level than I do, and they may be able to pull this off. So on that basis alone, I can't walk away from this opportunity, because if it happens the way they indicate to me it will, or it can, it's a real big deal for us. So I got that out there. Working on other things. I bet you last week or two, and there were a number of entities that contacted me, and I don't remember even who the last three were, for a letter of support and acknowledgement letter for the bounce back program. Got another one out there now working with United Way. They need to relocate, looking for space, working with somebody that can provide them the space they need. And they asked me if I could meet with them and their board tomorrow night, because I have to tell them that it's the only space alternative I can find in the county, and especially in Menominee. And some of them want to move forward, some of them don't. But I'm being told that the board wants to hear from me that in fact there aren't any other options, and I will tell them flat out there are not. But additionally, I'm going to throw the bounce back program on the table for them because I think they could qualify for it, in particular, with the space that I'm looking at. So we've got that going. We've got a lot of those things going, guys, and I get new things all the time. So we just run through them as best and as fast as we can. But a lot of these take months, and in particular, when we're working with projects that need financing. And but it looks like some of those now are finally coming to fruition, or might. So I just wanted to put that on the table for you guys and let you know what we got going. Okay.
Yeah, Bob, I will follow up. Dunn County EDC has their meeting on Wednesday at 4:30 before our Dunn County board meeting. And maybe at that time, we'll get an update from you too after your meeting tomorrow night with all of these things going. Yeah, Bob, I meet with Bob fairly regularly too. We do more than just drink coffee. Sometimes we talk business. Thanks, Bob.
Yeah.
Appreciate the update. Anybody have any questions? Larry, you got your hand up. Supervisor Bjork.
Bob, can you be the person that would have information on what's happening with Ellsworth Cheese and their, I think that they had intended on finishing that project by now, and they haven't.
I am not directly involved, and I stayed away from Ellsworth Cheese because they had somebody else involved in it. However, I've stayed reasonably close to the progress there, and I know that even going back a couple of months ago, they had some major contractor problems. And as I dug into it and I talked to a few contractors around who may or may not have been involved, they wouldn't tell me, but they said part of the problem was getting some of the supplies that they needed to finish the project. So I'm sorry, Larry, but I don't have any more information on them than that right now.
Larry, I asked Bob the same question because when they do have their open house, I think it would be nice if all of us from this committee would be there along with Dunn County Economic Development Corporation to welcome them to Dunn County. Larry, you had another question?
Well, it just had to do with the solar panels that are requesting. I received the contract and decided I'm not interested in it, but I mean, is there going to, I mean, when something like that comes along and knocks on your door and it's from wherever they're from, how does a person know that you're dealing legitimately and fairly?
Well, I can't answer all of that, Larry. What I can say is this, is that I'm aware, and it's not just in Dunn County, but in let's say the Chippewa Valley region, that there are a number of private landowners who have signed agreements or I'll call it options on some property to potentially at least provide it for solar panel installation. And I'll tell you straight up, the company that I talked to was Galehead. That they told me straight up that they're working with Tier Energy, and so that's not going to be a secret. I can't speak. Tier Energy is a legitimate firm. I can't speak, however, about the contracts that they might put on the table for, let's say, an individual landowner. But the fact that they've got to run that through the if I don't say this right, Dave, please forgive me. The Utilities Committee, is that the committee for the county that Scott's in charge of? But in any event, if they got to run it through that committee to get a development agreement with the county, I got to assume that the county will be on top of that, Larry.
That'd be the Facilities Committee is who handles if they want to put that into the on county property.
Yeah. Okay.
Facilities, that would be Bob. Correct. Thank you.
Okay. Got it.
Larry, okay.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else on the committee? Yes, Tom Quinn. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a quick comment, really, I guess. But I just kind of wish that, or urge some caution with regard to recruitment of the Bitcoin mining company. I'm not so sure that that's really a very beneficial company to bring into the county. They use a tremendous amount of electricity. Often they end up raising the electricity rates for the general community because they use so much. And I don't know, but I'm guessing there's not a lot of jobs involved. But you know better than I do, Bob, about that. But I
Well, I can tell. I'm sorry, Tom. I've actually put a number in, and just curiously, and this goes back only about a year and a half ago, I put a number of projects together for Bitcoin mining operations. So I know you're right. There's practically no jobs involved. Big load. This particular operation would need at least a megawatt, and I don't hold much hope out for these guys. Yeah. All right. The people with whom I'm worked before on these Bitcoin mining operations, they could never conclude them in any event anyway. So I don't think I'm going to hear from these guys again, Tom. I really don't. Okay. And I'm not recruiting them. I mean, it's just somebody who knocked on my door.
Okay, good.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else on the committee? A question of Bob? What do you got him here? Yes, Supervisor Vogel, go ahead, Ann.
Hi, I'm not sure if you know the answer to this, but I was curious if high construction costs or lack of supplies, does that deter development at this time, or do we have enough contractors and available?
No, I'm sorry, go ahead, Larry. I was just going to say, yeah, I worked with a number of contractors, some smaller ones and some bigger ones. And I can tell you right now that, and this goes back probably at least the last conversation I had with anybody big was probably a month or two ago. But no, the cost and the availability of materials have really deterred a lot of construction, big time. And I had one contractor told me, and pre-engineered steel is a pretty common building material. And if you go into the Menominee Industrial Park, most of the buildings you see there are made out of pre-engineered steel. He told me, he said, if you want me to build a building out of pre-engineered steel, he says, and you come to me today, he says, you tell me what time next year you want me to get it done. Okay. And the cost, and the other side of that is that pre-engineered steel was a common construction option going back even just a few years ago because the cost is so much less than, let's say, precast concrete, and certainly less than brick. But the cost of that steel has risen. It's almost equal to precast concrete, and it almost, and so that's slowing. In fact, I'll be honest with you, I had a project in Boyceville, and worked really hard on that. And that required a pre-engineered steel building, and we've just put it on hold until next spring. We'll approach it then. We'll see where the market's at, and see if it makes sense. But the construction cost had gone up so high that it made it very difficult to cash flow that particular project.
Good question, Ann. Thank you. Did I answer your question? All right, Ann? Okay, thank you. Well, anybody else while we got Bob Bassani on the line here with us? If not, Bob, I will be talking to you then on Wednesday night at our Dunn County EDC meeting before our county board meeting. So
yeah, and I don't know. And I'll just say this, and thanks, guys. I would like the opportunity to talk about it and bring this stuff up. But I've got a meeting, a call I've got to make here at 6. So I'm going to have to leave. I'm going to bug out, guys. I don't know if maybe you're ending anyway.
Wait, Bob, we got to get moving. This is Valentine's Day, Bob. So you're right. Thank you, Bob.
It is. This is Valentine's Day. Oh, sweet Mother Mary of God.
All right.
I forgot.
All right. We're moving on.
I'm a dead man. See you guys.
Okay. Right. All right. Thank you. Okay. Next on our agenda, then I requested that we all hear from Supervisor Jim Zahns. You remember he is going to be reporting at our County Board March meeting, a little update. And I thought tonight would be a good chance to call on Jim Zahns for I call it a website update. But Jim, you go ahead and share with us where we're at right now. Okay, go ahead, Jim.
Basically, he's working on still a lot of the back end of the site. You guys got to look at it the last meeting. As far as what you would see right now wouldn't be much different than that. I'm realizing I did not prompt Krista to do another public call out for photo submissions. So Krista, I'll probably ping you with an email tomorrow to ask you to do that again. I think since the last meeting, I got a little flurry of some public photo submissions that were of a range of qualities. Almost all of them were like, I think all just like the lake or something like that. There was like a constant theme with them, and some were, I would like to see more variety from some of the submissions, but you know, we just take what we're going to get, and that's going to be the thing. I think also I'll draft some language for the 4-H administrator to maybe send out something to the 4-H clubs to get some from some of the kids that are maybe doing or thinking about entering photography entries for the upcoming fair. So
Jim, yes, thank you. I appreciate that update. And to all of you, you know, if there's anything, and to Krista, thank you for all your help on this. I know that you've been working with Jim on this, and you certainly help a lot. But, you know, as I drive around the county, and all of you, you might see something out in the county, you think, wow, that would make a good picture, or that would mean something. So you don't have to talk to me. Go ahead and get a hold of Supervisor Zons, and he might be something that he wants to utilize in this update. Jim, is there anything more? Go ahead, Jim.
I'll just follow up with, she did track down a couple of those lists of, I'm trying to remember, Michelle, what were the two things you sent me? And one of them was really out of date, unfortunately.
It was the Dunn County Barn Quilt Tour, and then the local foods pamphlet for the extension.
So she did put that on, and one of them, I think, as we brought up in the meeting, was fairly out of date, unfortunately. But you know, it's still information that we could start at least there. The great thing about a website is that that information can be put out there and then, you know, be updated on a regular basis.
Right. Yeah, very good, Jim. Any members of the committee have any questions or comments or suggestions for Jim to as we're moving along? Jim, I know that, oh, go ahead, Ann.
Have you approached Stout for any of their photos? They may have some that get out into the community besides just campus. That might be interesting.
I'm not exactly sure who I would approach there. I mean, I could task Dave on it to see who we would approach, but maybe their media department. The only problem might be is that they're kind of proprietary about the stuff that they have, and they might not be so keen to share it as far as like community stuff, though they would probably share the photos on, you know, just like the campus stuff that they would want to use to promote the campus itself. But it wouldn't hurt to reach out to them.
The photographer is Chris Cooper.
Okay. Well, do you,
or if you'd like me to contact him and see.
Yes, that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
I'll do that. If you're interested in those, I'll see. But
yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that is really going to help this site is going to be the more the content, the better, and especially the more photos, the better. So the more photos that can be submitted, especially with, you know, community participation would be great, but also you know, just businesses as well, and organizations that can submit photos for stuff that's happening or that can be a draw to the area. And that, again, you know, we're thinking of this site with a tourism focus. However, we're keeping as kind of a subset of this site, the economic development focus of it, so that it has not only things that draw people to Dunn County for things to do as a tourist, but also as a business retention or a business draw type of website. So quality of life issues and things that can be used by either area businesses, can be used by Bob when he's trying to, recruit some of these companies and direct them to the website and say, hey, look at all this great stuff there is to do in Dunn County.
Thank you, Jim. That's absolutely right. It's got so much potential, and I'm excited, looking forward to seeing this get going. And we all are, and we need to do everything we can. And that's a good suggestion. Thank you. Any other committee members, anytime, or County Board Chair Bartlett, any comments or questions of Jim at this point, how we're progressing? But you are planning, Jim, to present at our March County Board meeting, an update at this particular time. So we're counting on that. And Chairman Bartlett, I know we've talked about it, that we will be able to get that, I think, on the agenda for our March meeting, right? Chairman Bartlett, thank you. So all of the county board supervisors can get a good idea now of what we're doing here and what you've been doing, Jim. And we look forward to that and working with everybody you're doing. Thank you, Jim. Very good. Okay, we can move on, and we have a few action items now. I'm going to go back to Catherine Emanuel right now because there is a request, I think, for a budget carry forward under a budget. Catherine, you're on.
We can't hear you, Catherine.
That's because I'm on my diversified audio features today.
Now we can.
Hello.
Yes.
Thank you. And just to let you know, my son, you guys might have seen like half of him or his little head pop in. He said, Mom, you got to hurry up with your meeting because I got 100 Valentines and I have to show them to you.
Oh.
So this is his very first school Valentine's event. So it's pretty fun.
That's a big day.
Oh, I know. Yeah, my daughter is 12 years older than he is, so 17.
Yeah.
So it's probably like I get a little taste of grandparenthood because it's like all the fun things are coming back again, and it's awesome. It's super awesome.
That's right.
All right. So we've got 2 carry forward requests, and let me just give you a little bit of background. Just for the procedure, I'll talk about the procedure and then I'll talk about the specific requests that we have. So the procedure that we followed was when Keith was still here, he sent out information requesting, if we had any carry forward requests. So we submitted it with him, and he then passed the baton to Beata. I hope I'm getting that correct, Beata. And then, and she has also confirmed this information. So we're takeaway messages. We're good with our finance department. And these 2 pieces are money that are we're being asked to carry forward. So let me talk about them one at a time. The first one is that it's for an event, educational event that Katie has been hosting for several years called Farmers Night Out. And unfortunately, that had to be postponed for a couple of years, but Katie and Michelle worked in our community to gather many donations. And what this request is for is to carry forward the non-levy funds so that when they are able to do the Farmers Night Out appreciation event and educational event, they will have this money. So that's for $2,318.38. And then the next piece is for rural tourism funding. And the fund request is asked to carry forward the $6,340. And Michelle, please interrupt me if I get any of this wrong. and the $2,660, which is a remaining balance of $10,000 for rural tourism. So these funds are being requested. There's an outstanding purchase order for the development and support of the rural tourism website. And the purchase order was issued for the expected cost, but only $1,000 has been invoiced. And then the remaining amount on the purchase order will be invoiced once the site has been completed and made available to the public. Additionally, the $2,660 of that initial $10,000 allocated is requested to be carried forward to help cover maintenance expenses for the website in 2022. So with that, Beata or Michelle, if you feel like there's any information I missed or got wrong, please certainly feel free to chime in.
Yeah, I will call on Beata too, Catherine. Yes, if she has some update or comments to follow up on your report. Yes.
Yes, good evening. So for the carryovers, Catherine, I do have the 2,318 as you requested. That's going to pay for operating expenses in the agriculture area, correct? Okay.
Right.
Now, the remaining for the website, I believe that carry forward is part of the IT. I mean, this is my first time running this through. So on my report, I have that portion of the website in the IT carry forward request.
Okay.
And
Chairman Bartlett is nodding approval. Yes, thank you, Beata.
Right. And again, Catherine, if I have these accounts wrong, by all means, contact me and we'll work it out. But I was able to account for the dollar amounts that you referenced. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Yep, it's all good. Michelle has unmuted herself and has let us see her face. So this means she has something very important to share and insightful. Go ahead, Michelle.
Yeah, I just want to clarify on the rural tourism funding. That money was in the external organization cost center. So there's not really a department that directly oversees that. So Dan Dunbar, the CIO, submitted the carry forward request because he's working with the website. But yeah, that cost center is not, it's kind of not directly anybody's. So that's why we plan to all have hands on it.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you,
That's
Michelle.
good. I think Chairman Bartlett has some follow-up questions or comments here, right? Chairman Bartlett?
No, no, actually I didn't. I totally agree with that, IT is working on it, but the money was in the CRT, the budget for CRT, and not really with a specific department. So I think it's fine to go ahead like this as long as Beata keeps everything straight for us, and I'm sure she will.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. Now,
Thank you, Dave.
do we need two separate motions here then, Beata, to approve this carry forward?
So the carry forward that's included with Dan Dunbar will be part of it's part of administration. So that's
Okay.
that's on Wednesday, right? And so for now, you would just do the, oh my goodness, my spreadsheet is too long. That 2,318 for extension that's getting charged to the agriculture.
Thank you. I think that's right. That's a farmer's night out carry forward, $2,318.38. So we do need a motion on this then, correct?
Yes.
I will entertain a motion to carry this funds forward.
So move.
Moved by Zans, second by Bjork. Okay, we've got a motion on the table and it's been seconded. Is there any more questions or discussion on this motion to carry forward these funds? If not, all in favor, please raise your hand. Aye. 1, 2, 3. All, it carries unanimous. Thank you. The motion's carried. Well, Catherine, that should take care of that issue for us on the extension budget carry forward, Farmers Night Out. Isn't it unfortunate we haven't been able to do this for so long? This Farmers Night Out is terrible. Yes, Chairman Bartlett has his hand up. Go ahead.
I just want to make sure that Beata will make sure that the carry forward will be on admin's agenda then on the 24th. Is
Yeah,
that what
that's correct.
you're going to do?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep,
Right.
all the admin items would be on that resolution.
all right.
The
So that'll be
finance,
part of that.
HR.
Thank you.
All right, thank
Thank you, Beata. I needed to be sure that was right too. Dave, thank you. So
You're very
we're all on the
welcome.
same page. Well, we are getting close to the end. We've had all of the business we've had to take care of. I will remind everybody here on the County Board of Supervisors that Chairman Bartlett, our special meeting is still on for March 28th, right? Is that on, Chairman Bartlett, a special meeting with the legislators?
We were talking about a date in February for the legislative meeting.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean March. I meant February 20th, 2 weeks from tonight. I misspoke.
Yes.
And what
21st.
the reason it's 2 weeks from tonight.
Yeah, the 21st, correct? Not the 20th.
Wait a minute now, according to the county clerk's memo I got, it was going to be the last Monday of February 28th, Dave.
Okay.
Now, the reason I want to know is if this committee has any suggestions or things that each one of the chairs and Tom Quinn, you'll have a chance too with PR&D, for us to bring up things with the legislators that we feel are of vital importance in Dunn County. And I know that I don't really have much, I think, from CRT. We don't need to talk about broadband anymore. Rural tourism is pretty well being taken care of. Maybe all I need to do then representing this committee is to thank them for the support. Unless some of you have some brief comments you want me to bring up at that special meeting on the 28th of February. Chairman Bartlett.
Well, I think we have to stick with our county's legislative agenda, but in that agenda is continuing support for rural broadband. So I believe that should be at least talked about a little bit. Because sometimes they don't go as far as we need them to go.
Thank you, Chairman Bartlett. I had intended, and I appreciate that. I will be sure to do that. Anybody else on the committee regarding that special meeting? I wanted to make sure that our voices get heard if you want it said. Well, we're getting down to the close. It's a little after 6. I want to thank everybody for our special meeting last Monday. I think it was very, very fruitful, let me say, beneficial. And the executive board gave approval of it. And so then Wednesday night, you will hear our final approval and the resolutions regarding the $100,000. And we've talked about that a great deal. So I say thank you to all the committee. And to you, Michelle, you're always doing a great job for us, and Krista. And then finally, I do this quite often. I don't, but you know, if you ever want to know what goes on at this meeting and you forgot, go to the Glenwood City Boyceville Colfax paper and you can read what Leanne Ralph writes about us, because she always does a good job of reporting for us. And so I reach out and say thank you to her as well. So before we close, vote tomorrow. And if there's any other items of announcements from anybody, yes, Ann Vogel, go ahead.
So I have a question for this group because I think, since we're focused on community and tourism, I'm on a group at Stout that's trying to build community engagement. And we're hoping to have an event on April 28th with an author who wrote a book called What I Found in 1,000 Towns. And the book is, looked at all these towns she had visited over time and how they changed and how they built community. And so we're looking for community leaders who would be interested in kind of furthering the discussion about this book. And I thought maybe some on this committee might be interested. So there's going to be a book discussion with the community leaders on April 28th. And then she's actually a singer, so she's going to actually do a performance in the evening. I mean, I can represent us, but I thought some others might be interested in building more community. I mean, because it should help with tourism. And so I thought we're trying to get books into the community leaders' hands so that they might be able to participate with the discussion. So I didn't know if anyone on this group would be interested.
And that's a great suggestion. Thank you. I think you brought it up before, and we do need to follow up. You're right. And I think besides this committee and others, I know that I talked to the chamber about this very same thing. When I first came to town a long, long time ago, people talked about town and gown, and they were concerned about it then. And I personally never saw it that much. I got very involved with people at Stout, and it was wonderful, but it's something, you're right, we need to continue working at. What time is that meeting? Is that an afternoon, Ann, or what, do you know the time of it?
The kind of book discussion is, I think, later, maybe like 1 or 2 in the afternoon, I think is the thought. And then the performance would be around 5:36.
Well, would you remind us again at our next meeting in March? And we need to certainly get involved now. I will not be chairman of the CR&T committee at that time, but I want to make sure that everybody here will get involved and follow up. And thank you. That's very important, and we need to follow up on that. Yes, Tom, you have a announcement or question? We still don't hear you, Tom.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm wondering if I didn't catch the name of the author or the book. I'd like to, if you could share that, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, it's Dar Williams is the author. And the title is What I Found in 1,000 Towns. But if you're interested, if anyone's interested, you can let me know and we can get you an ebook or a book ahead of time if you want to participate. Yeah.
Thank you, Tom. And yes, I know we do.
Yeah,
that will be great.
Available as a Kindle title, do you know?
So we're working through Campus Red Shelf, which is an ebook, but it is available via Kindle.
Okay, because
I've seen it.
That would be kind of cool to have.
Yep. Wow. Well, that we will follow up on, Ann. Thank you. That'll be very good and important to us. So, okay, looking around, anybody got their hand up for any more announcements? Well, I think we got a lot accomplished. Again, Michelle, thank you to you and Krista for all you do. And unless there's no further business, I'll stay to all of you. I hope you have happy Valentine's Day, and I hope it's not too late for you to go out and enjoy and get a lot of those Valentines like we were hearing about from Catherine with how many Valentines her kids got. So to everybody, happy Valentine's Day.